What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfire. So for today's story, we've got to go back 8 months ago to December 13th of last year, when Deadline ran the headline Avengers Doomsday, Hayley Atwell reprising Agent Carter role in Marvel Studios' pick, where they go on to, in an exclusive, basically confirm Hayley Atwell reprising her role as Agent Carter, asterisk not Captain Carter, alongside Chris Evans likely coming back as Steve Rogers. Now, a lot has surfaced between now and then, including this most recent revelation that Chris Evans was on set in a replicated house where we last saw him with Peggy Carter at the end of Avengers Endgame, and apparently under the codename Luke Cage. That's where we pick up today with the latest industry insider confirmation of scenes that are being filmed with not just 2 actors named during this prologue, but another mystery 2 actors as well. We're breaking it all down, this latest update to scenes with Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers, and try to speculate as to who these 2 mystery actors, or rather the characters that they play, are to make up this scene. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content on the channel, that's all we do. Thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately and helped grow the community, and if you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. It's the #1 thing you can do to support us, plus it'll help you keep up with the videos and the giveaways. Stick around to the end of the video, we get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this latest scoop comes via the industry insider Daniel Rickman. You guys can follow him over on Twitter at RPK News, and as I've often said, him alongside now Jeff Snyder have definitely built up the most trusted track records where they've been right about major scoops. That's why we give them a lot more reverence than many of the other sources we frequently reference at the channel. That being said, he hasn't gotten everything right, so take it as you will. His latest update for the set of Avengers Doomsday said this, quote, "I can confirm they are shooting scenes with Peggy and Steve Rogers and 2 other mystery actors." And again, because Deadline confirmed Hayley Atwell coming back as Peggy Carter, that's not the huge scoop, but it's the fact that it's now Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers that really helps us hone in on that version that returned the Infinity Stones is most likely the version that we're going to get. And maybe my theories about an old man Cap aren't mutually exclusive, but it definitely paints a picture of a nomad, if you will, or a younger Steve Rogers. Now, more interestingly, who are these specific mystery actors? Because whomever they are in tandem really change the context of this scene, and I have 3 ideas that I think are more likely than the rest. The first of which would be a visit from Victor Von Doom himself, and because there's 2 actors, maybe he'd have Franklin Richards in tow. Look, when we pick up with Avengers Doomsday, there are a lot of questions to answer, and what happened in between when we last saw Doom and Franklin Richards, and why the Fantastic Four, if it's truly them aboard their ship, are now in the 616. When they get through answering all of that, we have to have a reason here why in the world Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers are getting a visit on their timeline now to drag them presumably back into the fight against Doctor Doom, if it's not Doctor Doom himself. But given a lot of the leaks and updates we've heard recently, it sounds like Doctor Doom is on a mission to eradicate anybody who's not where they're supposed to be in the multiverse, or rather may have caused incursions, and now industry insiders are starting to say alongside the rumors that Steve Rogers is responsible for an incursion. Now, whether or not that's because he went back in time with Peggy Carter, we don't know, but I think very likely if Doom is after him, this scene could be Captain America versus Doctor Doom, and very early on in the film. Now, the second most likely choice, in my opinion, would be if the Fantastic Four have figured out how to jump the multiverse, and it's not our exact Steve Rogers in the 616 timeline, but somewhere else in the multiverse. Remember, real recently I mentioned that the writers and the directors on Endgame didn't seem to be able to agree where Steve has been, either back in time in the 616 or in a different multiverse part, whether that's explained or not. But if he is somewhere else in the multiverse, the Fantastic Four can now travel the multiverse as they have from the 828 to the 616. Presumably they'd be able to make it over to wherever Steve Rogers is now. That's why I think very likely the 2 people standing in that room could be none other than Sam Wilson going to look for his friend in Steve Rogers, and whomever's beside him, like say Bucky, Winter Soldier, a representative from both of the current Avengers teams who realized they need Cap and now are standing side by side trying to convince Cap to come back to the fight. I only don't mention Peggy Carter because it seems like it's Agent Carter, not Captain Carter with the shield as we saw in 838, but it doesn't mean she's not capable and couldn't come along for the ride as well. That's just yet to be seen exactly which variant it'll be. And again, guys, keep in mind, none of these exact variants matter in a multiverse with infinite versions. We could end up seeing a lot of different versions of these characters, so don't lock any of your theories into just one specific version. It's just easier to talk about theory crafting while we do it. Now, if it's not Doctor Doom and Franklin Richards or Doctor Doom and someone else, and it's not Sam and Bucky or some representatives of the Avengers or the current 616 lineup, we will put an asterisk by a runner-up here in a second, then I think the third most likely option might be Loki and or a member of the TVA. We've heard in other rumors that Loki may be looking looking to assemble his own team. And how ironic would it be, after mocking Cap immediately last when we saw him at the end of Avengers Endgame, if he was going after a version of Cap, knowing he was needed for the fight to represent Loki's team and perhaps alongside Thor. So the two people that could be in this room are Thor and Loki, and if you're wondering what would lead to that, we know that Chris Hemsworth's stunt double was on the leaked set footage that showed him in the TVA, presumably meeting up with Loki. It could be that those two go after Steve Rogers, because it's definitely presumable that if Thor is the one trying to make the team or involved with the team formation, one of the first people he may look to is Steve Rogers, who he's fought side by side by multiple times and actually won battles, and one of the only characters outside, say, like Vision and Jane Foster that's been able to wield Mjolnir beside him. So there would obviously be a lot there on the line for them, and that might be where they turn first, trying to recruit a multiversal Avengers of sorts. Now, I did put an asterisk here, sort of as a runner-up or first runner-up for another likely option, and that's simply Reed Richards and another member of the Fantastic Four, where he's the one who's recruiting across the multiverse. Again, there's evidence for that. He just showed up in the 616, presumably to approach our heroes. He could be hopping across the multiverse with whatever tech he has now to assemble this team, and a Steve Rogers, a Captain America, may be one of those characters he wants. And again, that would maybe be sort of another Steve from across the multiverse and not ours. But we know that the Fantastic Four now are one of the few teams who have gone from the 828 to the 616. Again, if they're the ones aboard the ship, there's not too many other heroes who are able to do that at will right now outside of America Chavez, who easily gets the asterisk runner-up because, well, one of the only people who can travel the multiverse, and it could be something like America Chavez and Wong, or America Chavez taking Bucky and or Sam to come recruit this Steve. Again, if it isn't Doctor Doom trying to blow him up. But you guys let me know all your thoughts down below. Who do you think these two mystery characters are? And does this really hone in on a nomad younger version of Steve Rogers? Is that the version you want to see, or were some of you hoping, like me, for Old Man Cap? I'm all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff. Still giving away PlayStations for Marvel drops. We've got 2 left this year with Marvel Zombies and Wonder Man. If you want to be entered to win, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Make sure to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos. And of course, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms under the name AllFires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, including songs you're hearing in the background now, thanks for checking this channel out. Remember to hit that sub button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.